What is up, guys? My name is Nash and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about accounting versus finance. Specifically, can you switch between the two, and what happens when you do switch between the two if you're an accounting major and you decide to go to finance. And this video is actually inspired by one of you guys that left a comment, so it's going to be based on that pretty much. So I was thinking this is a great question that a lot of people might need the answer to, so I'm going to go ahead. So this is pretty much the comment. So it was from Beatrice Lanting. I hope that's how you say your name. So she said, or he said, hi Nash, I'm a rising sophomore and I'm planning on switching to financial services. I was going to do accounting, but I took a couple classes and didn't like them. However, our finance class is similar to accounting. How connected are they? What exactly did you learn about? Did you like it? I took a business math class where we learned a lot about bonds and NPVs, which is net present values, and interest. I'm guessing finance is more like that than accounting, but I'm not sure. I'm not a huge fan of financial statements and things like that. Just trying to get a feel for it because I won't get to take a finance class until next semester. Thanks. So this is a great comment, honestly, because I was in the same situation when I was a sophomore in college. So when I came in, I was an accounting major because that's what I always wanted to do when I was in high school. So I came to college, I was like, I'm gonna be an accounting major. And usually the first semester or 2 semesters of college, you're taking the basic classes or core classes. That's if you go to a public university. So during that first year, I was taking the English classes, the history classes, the science classes that really have nothing to do with your major. And when I started taking accounting classes, I took accounting 1 and I really loved the class because it was easy and it was like super interesting. You know, that's the first time you get to take, you know, the classes that are related to what you actually want to do. And I took accounting 2, and when I got to accounting 2, I wasn't really feeling it because it was, you know, it was starting to get to the point where, you know, it got repetitive, you know, like I just didn't like it. So I went ahead and switched my major from accounting to finance at the towards the end of my sophomore year. I think it was the spring of my sophomore year. I'm not really sure, but it was my sophomore year. And I switched over to finance. Even though finance is kind of like as hard as accounting, I feel like if you have an accounting background and you go to finance, it'll actually be a lot easier. So when I switched over to finance, it was way easier. Alright, so the first question was, are accounting classes similar to finance classes? So a good way to look at this is by looking at accounting as the foundation of finance, right? So think about things like the income statement, the balance sheet, the statement of retained earnings, the statement of cash flows. So in accounting, you learn how to put these documents together, how to balance the balance sheet, how to, you know, you learn how to put these documents together based on the numbers that you get from, you know, from the company, right? That's usually for accounting 1, which is the first accounting class that you have to take, where you learn the basics. And a lot of schools actually require you to take this class, this accounting 1 class, which is even if you're a finance major or anything business related, really, because if you go into business, accounting is a part of everything in a business. Think about businesses that are trying to get a loan. You know, what's going to happen? They're going to look at your financial books. They want to see if you're actually making money, if you're going to be able to pay back the loan. Or when it comes to pay taxes, you know, they look at your financial statements, you know, and that's going to determine how much you're going to pay in taxes. So accounting is really important when it comes to, you know, anything in business, really, especially finance, because finance is built on accounting, right? So when you start taking finance classes, you're going to learn how to do forecasts or projections, which is pretty much like a projection. You can do a revenue projection, which is pretty much you try to predict how much you're going to make in the next month, year, 2 years, 5 years. And this information is based on accounting information, right? So you're going to take an income statement because that's where you're going to see the revenue. And this is going to be based on the historical data. So they're going to go back into the accounting books and they're going to look for how much did we make in 2015, how about in 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20. And by using that accounting data, they're going to be able to create somewhat of a projection, which is, you know, most of the time is close to accurate. And of course, it's going to be different formulas that you have to use in Microsoft Excel to actually calculate this. But the information that you're using is accounting information. So like I said before, you're going to find finance a lot easier if you know accounting, because imagine just going straight into finance and they tell you, use these numbers to, you know, create a projection of how much you're going to make in the next 2 years in revenue. And you look at the numbers, but the thing is you have no idea where the numbers are coming from, right? And I feel like that just makes it harder. Alright, so that's why accounting, I should say basic accounting, is very important for people that are finance majors, because finance is built on accounting. And if you understand accounting, then finance will be a lot easier for you. So if you're switching from accounting to finance, I mean, that's really good because you're gonna find finance a lot easier. Of course, it's gonna be a lot of like business terms, finance terms that you haven't heard before. And that's every major, so you can't really complain about that. But, when it comes to the fundamentals, you're going to be able to really understand that. And the only disadvantage that I can think about is like maybe it might push you back depending on how late you switch your major. So for me, I switched my sophomore year, and I was still able to finish in 4 years. So it didn't add any extra time for me. I didn't have to do an extra semester. But it would have been a different story if I was maybe a junior and I was trying to switch from accounting to finance. That's gonna maybe push you back by a semester or two. But it's not bad because you're actually switching to something you like. And I don't think I mentioned the reason why I switched from accounting to finance. I love accounting. When I took my first accounting class, it was so interesting to me that during the summer, so I actually got an accounting internship my sophomore year. I was working in the fiscal services department for the city of San Antonio, which is where I stay. And it was interesting. At first it's like you're learning all these things, things you learned in class, you get to apply them, you just get to learn a lot. But at the end of the day, accounting was too repetitive for me. I was doing the same thing every day. It's the same process but different numbers. So same thing every single day. So that's why I decided to switch from accounting to finance, because I felt like, it was very, very repetitive for me. And I would not want to do that for a living, where I get to just go to the office and do the same thing over and over. And the other question was, what exactly do you learn about in finance? I'm guessing it's finance. So one of the basic things you learn is pretty much corporate finance. For example, you learn about the income statement, and you also learn how to create projections, like revenue projections, expense projections. So that's kind of like the biggest thing you learn. Of course, you're going to learn about how to calculate the present value, the net present value, the future value, which is kind of like the small things that you learn, which are going to help you process a lot of this information. You're going to learn about investing. I know when I was in college, I took an investing class. You can also take, an entrepreneur class, which is pretty much, it teaches you how to manage your finances if you decide to become an entrepreneur. You can also learn about real estate, which is, it's kind of like related to finance. And you can also learn about the finance side of insurance. You can also learn about risk management. You can learn about statistics. You can learn about just management in terms of finance. So there's so many things to learn in finance, so you can take these different routes. And you also get to learn about personal finance, which was my favorite thing to learn about, and which is something that I really loved. The other question was, did you like it? Yes, I did. I loved it. I loved finance. That's why I wanted to make this YouTube, because now I'm done learning about finance, and I work a finance job. And I just want to talk about it. So that's why I made this YouTube where I get to really talk about something that I love. So if you wanted to switch from accounting to finance, that's absolutely fine. The only disadvantage is it might push you back a couple of semesters or a semester, and sometimes it won't even push you back. And it's only going to benefit you, because the more accounting the easier finance is going to be for you. And if you are switching from accounting to finance, I don't think you'd have the same advantage as someone who's switching from finance to accounting, because I feel like you'd be doing it kind of like backwards. But that is pretty much it for the video. So yes, if you want to switch from accounting to finance, please go ahead and do it. It's going to help you so much. That is if you actually love finance. So it's gonna be a lot easier, because you basically understand the foundation, which is accounting. So let me know if you switched, or if you're planning on switching, or anything along those lines. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button below if you haven't already, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.